Hi kids, it's Mrs. Grass, and I'm going to show you today what page to put in your Social Studies composition book. You're going to open your Social Studies composition book to the last page that you have something on, which may be map features or where am I. And you're going to turn to the next page, that's blank, and on the right hand side of the paper, you're going to glue in this fold up. It may not be folded up yet, so find the one that has Ohio rivers on one side, cities and glaciers on the other side. And you're going to fold the paper in half so that Ohio rivers is the cover, and the back has the rectangle with the X on it. So you're going to use glue on the rectangle with the X to glue this page into your Social Studies composition book. Okay, then turn it over and press it in here carefully. Make sure that you line up this edge of the paper with the red line so it's nice and straight and so that none of the page sticks out at the bottom or sticks out at the top. Okay, next, on this page, it says, trace the rivers in blue and label them. Trace the Ohio Divide with a red line. Now, the Ohio Divide is this dotted line. So you're going to use a red colored pencil, and you're going to trace this dotted line that goes across here in red. It goes all the way across. Make your red line follow along this dotted line as closely as you can. This is the Ohio Divide. Now, what the Ohio Divide means is that any water, so rain or rivers or creeks or streams that is north of the Ohio Divide is eventually going to run into a larger river that goes to Lake Erie. So all of the water in this part of Ohio is going to end up in Lake Erie. All of the water in the southern part of Ohio, so any rain that falls down in here, any creeks or streams are going to flow into these major rivers, and they are going to end up at the Ohio River, which is going to continue on to the Mississippi River, which is going to continue to the Gulf of Mexico, which attaches to the Atlantic Ocean. So all of this part of Ohio, all of this has water that will end up in Lake Erie. All of this part of Ohio has water that will end up at the Ohio River. So that's what the divide means. It divides all of the watershed areas that flow to Lake Erie from all of the watershed areas that flow to the Ohio River. Then you're going to trace each of these blue lines with blue colored pencil or blue gel pen. Don't use a marker or it will bleed through onto the other side. And then you're going to label each of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rivers with the correct names that match them. So there are 3 up here, there are 4 down here, and then there's 1 across the bottom. So label them as neatly as you can with these names. And where are you going to find these names? You are going to go to the Social Studies Schoology course. Click on the folder that says Social Studies Resources. Inside that folder is a folder that says Maps. Open the Maps folder, and then you will see a whole list of maps. One of the maps is labeled Ohio's Rivers. And if you open up that map, you will see the answers to all of these river names. It actually has more rivers than this on it, but these are the main ones, so you should be able to find those pretty easily on the map that is labeled Ohio Maps. After you finish the outside, then you're going to turn to the inside, and you're going to label these Ohio cities: Columbus, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Dayton, Marietta, Toledo, Youngstown, Akron, Sparta. Okay? Each of these labels for a city name or a town gets labeled beside one of these dots. So each of these dots is marked for a city in Ohio. There are two of them that are down here right near the squiggly line. And you need to know that the three largest cities in Ohio are the three C's: Columbus, Cincinnati, and Cleveland. Since Columbus is the capital city, it is noted with a star, and it is the largest city in Ohio as far as population. The other two C cities are on the diagonal. Interstate 71 connects Cleveland, which is by Lake Erie, to Columbus, which is the capital in the center of the state, to Cincinnati, which is on the Ohio River. So Cleveland, Columbus, and Cincinnati are the three largest cities in Ohio, and they're on this diagonal. If you look at a road map of Ohio, which you can see a road map also in the Ohio Maps, in the Maps folder, I think it's labeled Ohio Road Map, and you can see that Interstate 71 or I-71 goes from Cleveland all the way down to Columbus, all the way down to Cincinnati. And then you can label these other cities as well by opening up the map in the Maps folder that is labeled Ohio Cities. On this page, you're going to be labeling the glaciated and unglaciated sections of Ohio and writing some notes at the bottom. So on this map of Ohio, there's a dotted line, and this is not the Ohio Divide. It does not match this dotted line. This line divides Ohio into the part of Ohio that was covered by glaciers. That's this part. And the part that was not covered by glaciers. That's this part. So glaciated means covered by glaciers at one time. And when the glaciers covered it, they flattened it out like a bulldozer or a steamroller. As those glaciers dragged down across Ohio, they smoothed off a lot of the land. So you're going to label this section glaciated, mostly flat land. Unglaciated means it was not covered by glaciers, so you're going to label this section unglaciated, mostly hilly land, because this part of Ohio was not smoothed out by glaciers pressing over it. So this part of Ohio is the corner of Ohio has the Appalachian Mountains down here. And there's a lot of forests and a lot of hills here, which means there's not as much land that is good for farmland in this region as there is over here in the mostly flat land, which includes the Till Plains region. After you've labeled these two parts of Ohio, then you're going to also write these notes at the bottom of the page. And I'm going to post a picture of these notes after the video so that you can look at the picture to copy the notes instead of trying to do it during the video. Here are the definitions you're going to write. For glacier, a mass made of ice, a mass of ice made from layers of compressed snow. Alpine glaciers move slowly down valleys, and ice sheets expand slowly outward. So if you see a picture of a glacier and there's hills or mountains on either side of it, that is an alpine glacier. That means that that glacier is moving slowly downhill through the valley, and it is moving downhill because of gravity. Glaciers are so heavy from all the compressed ice that they weigh many, many, many tons, and they're so heavy that they slide downhill. That's what causes glaciers to move. Ice sheets are not moving downhill. Antarctica is covered with an ice sheet, and it expands slowly outward rather than moving downhill because it's just a big sheet of ice over the entire continent. The definition for glaciated is covered or having been covered by glaciers or ice sheets. Antarctica is glaciated. Greenland is glaciated. most of North America, or most of Canada and part of North America is glaciated, this is the part of Ohio that is glaciated, which means that it was covered by glaciers during the Ice Age. And unglaciated means never having been covered by glaciers. So this part of Ohio is unglaciated. After you have these notes written, then I would like you to color this picture. And we're going to color two things. First of all, this glaciated, mostly flat land, you're going to use brown or black or a regular pencil and put straight, smooth lines so it looks sort of flat here. This has a lot of flat land in it that is good for farming. In this area, you're going to put curly green lines to cover this because most of this is covered with hills and forests. And in fact, the Wayne National Forest is in this part of Ohio right here. So this will differentiate the flat part of Ohio from the hilly part of Ohio with color and the style of your coloring. When you are done with all three of these pages, then you may take a picture of each page. Take a picture of Ohio rivers. Make sure that it's clear enough that I can see all of your river label names. Then you can take a picture of these two pages together or each page individually. Make sure that your picture is clear enough that I can read the city names. And make sure your picture is clear enough that I can read your notes down here at the bottom of the page. And then submit those pictures to me. If you can't figure out how to make the pictures and attach them to your assignment submission, then make a video and show me these 3 pages. Make sure you hold each page up to the camera for at least 5 or 6 seconds so that I have time to read your labels on all of these different things. Okay? If you have any questions, send me an email.